What's up, everyone? It's your girl Rossie, and I'm back with another amazing interview, you guys. I've been talking about this gentleman for some time, letting you guys know I have Omari Washington, the award winning actor, screenwriter, producer, a man of many talents, coming on the show tonight. I've been following him for a long time. He doesn't know that, but I've been looking at him for a long time and just waiting to see, is this the right time to ask him to come on this show? So I did that, and he was so gracious to come on the show. So, guys, let's get the show started. What's up, Omari?
Hey, how's it going, Rossi? How you doing?
It's going it's going really good. Very good, actually. I've been really excited about meeting you and talking to you. Like I was telling the audience and the listeners, so I start following you on Facebook. And at the time I was following you on Facebook, I didn't have the show. I was acting. And I remember watching you and just following all the things that you were doing and the shows. And I was like, just what an inspiration. And like, that's where I want to be. And just living through you, just living through your pictures and your post and you at this party and stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to be there one day. I'm sure a lot of us actors, want to be there one day. And so it took me a while because I wanted to build up a show to have, you come to something and it has something ready. You know what I mean? I didn't want to shoot too soon when the show was in, its infancy stage. I wanted to wait till I had a few episodes down and had some awesome guests on and build up the show before I went and asked you to come on the show. So I'm so happy that you're here. Like I said, guys, Omari is an award-winning actor, screenwriter. He's a producer. He's originally from Chicago, and we're going to talk about that. He's now in LA. You came to LA in 2012. By the way, guys, this is episode 42 of Rossie's Clubhouse. So we are chugging right along, guys, and we'll talk about who else is coming here at the end of March and April. But right now, 20. So first of all, acting. You came to LA in 2012, but when did you tell us when you started to get into acting? Like when you knew you wanted to be an actor?
So I started acting at the age of 12, actually. So it's been
Okay.
quite some time.
Wow.
Yeah, I done paid a lot of dues at this point. Yeah, I feel like my career didn't blossom until I would say probably about 7 years ago when I joined the union.
Okay.
When I got my first breakout role in Lethal Weapon as
Right.
Gangbanger number one. And it's been amazing ever since, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So in 2012, did you do stage acting? Like, was it, did it, obviously you were 12 years old. I'm sorry. You were 12 years old when you started acting. So obviously, was it in school or did you
Yeah,
okay.
I auditioned for the role of Tin Man in Wizard of Oz, and I
Awesome.
booked it. And ever since then, I got the acting bug, and I was like, man, how can I take this to the next level?
Okay. Your parents, I mean, obviously you had to have your parents take you to go sees or cattle calls. No?
No, my Nigerian father, he was not having it. He was
Okay.
like,
Okay.
you want to go act? You want to do what now? No, no, no. You must study, study, study. You must go and be a doctor or a lawyer, but
Right.
acting, no.
So he
He
wasn't
was
having
not
it,
having
not having
no
it.
at all. And I lost my mom at a very young age, like around 6 years old. So I had a stepmom
Okay.
when my father remarried. Yeah.
Okay. And obviously he wasn't having it, but you stuck to your guns and you went ahead and pursued acting. When you left Chicago, and first of all, growing up in Chicago, how was that for you? How is the acting scene in Chicago? Because we see a lot of movies. I mean, obviously, um, there's a lot of film being made in Chicago, but at that time, Did you go to LA because there wasn't a lot of opportunity, or was it like most actors where that's the dream is to get to LA, get to Hollywood?
Well, for me in the process at the time, I graduated culinary art school in 2009, and at that time,
That's right.
uh, I had family members telling me, "Oh, you should have a backup." So I went to culinary school, got my backup, and
Okay.
then after that, I was like, "Ooh, I can either stay in Chicago and see if it starts to pop off like
Right.
LA, or I could just go straight to the source, go straight
Okay.
to LA." And I was like, "You know what? I need to go straight to the source where the best casting directors are in the world." And
Right.
here I am, 14 years later.
Wow. So when you first get to LA, how was that struggle though? Because that's a struggle. I
Oh,
mean, you go there like we know it's a struggle, but tell the audience how was that struggle for you when you first went there, and what was the first job that you got that you booked?
so when I transitioned to LA from Chicago, it was terrifying. I didn't know anybody. Like I had family members here, but I'm not close to them, so it's like I really had nobody.
Okay.
Um, I didn't know where to go or what to do. So oh, by the way, I lived with 5 roommates in a
Did
house.
you?
It was
Okay.
crazy. Some guy was sleeping in the kitchen and the living room and in the other room. It was people everywhere. So So once I found a place to live, because I moved out here with $1,500 in my bank account. I didn't know where I was gonna live, where I was gonna stay, none of that. So I'm on
Okay.
Craigslist like every day
Right.
while I'm over here in LA looking for a place to live. Because if I didn't find a spot, I was gonna move back home.
Right. Right.
So here comes the last week of my hotel stay, and I didn't know where I was gonna stay. And then this landlord hits me up. She's like, "Hey, I got this room." And I go check it out. And then that
Okay.
same night, I was like, "I want it." She's like, "It's yours." And so since then, I would like talk to my roommates every morning, like, "Hey, where do I go to get food stamps?" Because my
Right.
money was kind of dwindling. I just paid
Right.
3 months rent. So I'm like, "Hey, where do I go for food stamps? Where do I go for assistance, general
Right.
help?"
Right.
And that's when I found out the lay of the land and how to get food stamps. And
Right.
when I got food stamps, I still had to look for a job. So weeks go by. I'm applying everywhere, anywhere. With
Right.
my culinary degree, it shouldn't be hard to get a
Yeah.
dishwasher job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the last week of my rent being paid up, I was like, Lord, I don't know how I'm gonna make it, but if you want me to stay out here, please make it happen.
Right.
So literally, like 2 days prior to the last few days of my rent, a manager calls me from Hard Rock Cafe. He's like, "Hey, we interviewed you for the dishwasher position. Would you like to start?" And I'm like, "Yes, yes, let's do it."
Right.
So I worked there for a good 8 to 9 months,
Okay.
and it didn't work out. Um, End up leaving that job, working as a line cook in Culver City at an
Okay.
Italian restaurant. I'm like, all right, cool, this is better.
Right.
But at the time, I was working 60 hours a week, and I was like,
Wow.
the money is great, but I didn't move out here for this.
Right.
So I had to reevaluate my life again. So I'm like,
Mm.
ooh, but I need the money to pay rent. So I'm like, I
Right.
don't know. So I stayed there a few weeks after my choice of, still working as a line cook.
Right.
And ironically enough, I ended up hurting my back on the job. And then shortly thereafter, they closed the restaurant for renovation. So I had a few weeks
Wow.
off to
Wow.
figure things out. And that's when I
Wow.
started to audition.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is the perfect time to audition.
Right.
So I auditioned for a big role, a lead role in a film called Assassin's Game with
Okay.
Vivica Fox, Tom
Right.
Sizemore. And
Yep.
I ended up booking a lead role, and I went in for a one-liner,
Wow.
for under 5 role, and they liked my performance. They're like, "Hey, we'd love to bring you on as a lead actor." And
Wow.
since that point, I left the job that I was at, and I focused on acting, and then it led
Okay.
to bigger and better roles slowly but surely.
Right. Did you like going through that? For some actors, I know for me when I got back into acting in 2017. I had started acting like in my 20s, and I had did an independent film. I'm from Oregon, from Portland, Oregon. So I did an independent film there. I had a lead role in that. I did some extra work for Lifetime Movie Network. And then, I had my husband and I had young kids. So I had kind of, decided to be a mom and raise my boys and do that. So I had entered acting again back in 2017. So for me, I started with a goal of if I don't have anything by, like a 4-year goal or whatever, then I'm going to move on and do something else. As an actor, did you have that when you moved out there? Did you have like, okay, I'm going to give myself this amount of time, and then if it doesn't work, I'm going to leave? I think that's a bad thing to do, in ways. Did you have that though? Did you do that? Give yourself a time frame?
I did. I feel like it's a double-edged sword because
Yeah.
it's good to have a timeline,
Right.
to have an idea of where you're headed, but
Right.
also it kind of takes away from the creativity of the
Right.
spontaneity that
Right.
happens in our acting process.
Right.
So, my timeline was 5 years,
Okay.
and once I got to my fifth year, I was like, "Ooh, this is not realistic." So
Yeah.
I got to change this timeline, and I adjusted it.
It's so funny because I was talking to a friend. What's up, Buddy Rami? He's a comedian here and an actor here in Sacramento. But anyways, I was on a show a few weeks ago and we were talking about that and talking about the realization of when you're an actor or an up and coming an aspiring actor, and when you get to a point to where you start to realize how hard it is, because a lot of us it's a dreaming thing, like watching you and do your thing. It's like, okay, that's I can do that I can do that, but then the realization of this isn't as easy as I thought it would be, and then having to work a regular job, and then you get into that regular job, and then before you know it, like you said, you're spending 60 hours there, and you kind of lose sight of what's going on. That
Thank
where
you
you were
for
like, I is this just a dream? Is this more than what I thought it was going to be? Like, am I taking on too much? Because I think a lot of us, as Buddy and I was saying, I think a lot of us stay in this world of, in our mind it seems easier than what it is, and then when you get to going and you put that goal on yourself, and then trying to get into SAG and all that, it becomes a lot for some of us aspiring actors. Did you have those moments of, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There was a lot of those moments. I still have those moments now actually, because
I thought,
it's like, okay, once I get a co-star, I'll reach for a guest star, and once I get the
there you
guest
go. Yeah.
star, it's a
Right.
never-ending
Right.
cycle. So I feel
Right.
like, in order to feel fulfilled, it comes from doing the work behind the scenes.
Right.
Because what we do behind the scenes when the camera isn't rolling, when people aren't watching us, it builds confidence. And the more work you put in, the more confident you'll be. And I started to learn that after year 5. Like, if I really want to make it to the next level, am I doing the same thing that seasoned actors are doing? Am I
Okay.
studying? Am I training? Am I
Okay.
producing my own content just like them?
Okay. Right. Right. And what training did you go to acting school? Did you, because as an actor, guys, you want to, it doesn't matter how good you are, you want to keep up the training, you want to keep up, like with me, I studied the Meisner Tech. I went to acting school, and that's the technique that I learned. There's so many other techniques out there. Did you go to acting school when you got to LA, and you were able to, when you had time, where, okay, I need to hone my craft? And did you have to go through that, or did you do that?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
After my first feature, I was like, "Ooh, I did decent, but I can get better." So I was
Right.
like, "Let me hop in some classes," know.
Right.
And I took some classes with some teachers from New York, and I was like, "This is
Okay.
perfect
Wow.
because they're not gonna
Wow.
lie to me. They're gonna keep it
Yeah.
all the way 1000% real."
Right. Right. Now speaking of, gosh, let's see. You've been in like lead roles in over 20 short films, and I have a list of films. I'm going to read some of them that you've been in. You have Mixed Signals. You have, and that's 2018, Highest Wishes, Pink Collar Crimes, The Bold and the Beautiful. The Bold and the Beautiful. I want to go back to that. Lethal Weapon, the series. You like you said, Gangbanger number one episode. That's in 2018. What a huge breakthrough. Honest Lies, Bunny Man Vengeance. I mean, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. And we'll talk about the other film, but with The Bold and the Beautiful, a soap opera. As a dramatic actress and other dramatic actors, soap operas are the best. And I used to be a soap head. I loved soap operas. I think as a kid, watching soap operas really made me want to be an actress because it was just so dramatic. And I used to watch soap operas when I was really young. And I remember just the acting and being dramatic, and it was so glamorous. How was it for you getting a role on The Bold and the Beautiful? That's a huge soap opera.
I feel like it opened me up to a new audience, you know,
Yeah.
all the people that have been watching this show for decades. I was like,
Yep.
yes, they can finally understand what my process is and who I am. It was amazing. Like I feel like it was like taking theater and film and fusing them into one.
Right, right, right. Yes. Let's see. I want to read a little bit. So, let's see. I have some footnotes here that I've been reading on the film that you won the award for. And by the way, you guys, just to let you know, he also had co-starring roles in major network shows, guys. All American on the CW. Like I said, Lethal Weapon, Fox, Good Trouble, Freeform, Bold and Beautiful, CBS, The Pink Collar Crimes, CBS. How is it working for a major corporation, like a major, sorry, network as an actor? I mean, do you feel like at that point, is that like you've made it? Because a
Oh,
lot of us feel like that's you, like CW, CBS, like you made it. Did you feel that way? Like I'm here, I made it.
almost definitely, especially when I booked Lethal Weapon. Oh, I was with my
Yes.
brother. My
We're,
brother was in town. Hold on, let me tell you the story
oh,
real quick.
please tell me, tell me.
So my brother flies into LAX and we're chilling. We're going to the beach, trying to vibe out. And I get a call from my manager, like, hey, Elizabeth Barnes wants to see you again. I was like, oh, cool. She loved my audition. It's like, yeah, it's a callback this time, but she wants to see you within the next 30 minutes. And we're like in Malibu,
Wow.
and the audition is in Burbank. And I was like, oh man. Yeah, let's do it. So
Right?
my manager sent me the script, and I literally had like 30 minutes to prep the scene. It was a two-page scene. I never read the scene before, so I'm going back while I'm driving. I have my brother read the lines to me, and we're going back and forth. By the time I get to the audition, I'm off book, and I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do it. I go in the room, I kill it, and I feel great about it. And literally the next day, my manager calls me like, "You booked it." And I was like, what? No way. And I was with
Wow.
my brother. So it made it even
Wow.
more special to book a
Yeah.
job, you know, like that. And I felt like once I got to set, I was like, this the big leagues. This is what I've been waiting for, baby. Let's get it.
So dope. That is awesome. Like that's crazy. Like that's yeah, that's making it. That's absolutely making it. And that was in what, 2018? Was it 20?
2018, yeah.
Yeah, 2018.
Mhm.
2018. Okay. So let's see. I'll talk about the post production one because I know that you have a film that's in post production. But Gracefully Broken. That's your most notable production. Did you write that one?
I wrote it, produced it, and starred in it.
Okay. You guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit about that film. Okay, so um, basically, Alex's world comes crashing down, which leads him to attempting suicide. When all of a sudden, he's a miracle to a random woman who wants to end it as well, which ultimately saves his life. He shows his newfound appreciation in many ways, but will it be enough to save her from the past? Wow. How was that for you when you just, first of all, where did the story come from? And how did you put that together? Let's talk about that. And then we'll talk about the awards. It's amazing.
Yeah, so when I was younger, growing up, dealing with a traumatic past, I wanted to end my life several times. So that's where the inspiration for the film came from.
Wow.
And I feel like, especially in the Black community, we don't talk about suicide or
Mm-hmm.
depression or
Mm-hmm.
even our emotions. We don't even talk about enough.
Right.
So I feel like this was a definitely a way to open up those discussions within our community.
Right.
And a few years ago, I was in a really dark place in my acting career. Before this was around 2017, before I started booking all those roles, I
Okay.
was like, Lord, I don't know if this is for me, and a lot of people don't know what goes into having this dream and how lonely it gets, and
Yeah.
not having a support system while you're chasing this dream could be so detrimental to your mental
Right.
health. So I wanted this film to be a gateway to have those conversations.
Good. Good. It says here that you earned um, 4 Best Actor awards. Excuse me. Actor awards for your portrayal of Alex in the film. You also won Best Actor award for your portrayal of Lewis in the award-winning short film Checkmate for Life. And you also have 12 Best Actor awards and 5 nominations in your career so far. How does that make you feel when something that you wrote, like your baby, you wrote, you produced it? How does that feel when it's received so well from your peers, from your fans? How did that make you feel knowing that you know,
It fuels my spirit. I feel fulfilled in the body of work that I was able to accomplish, not just by myself, but having an all-star cast and crew around me to help
right,
elevate the project. I feel at peace with the project. Like I can release it and let it go now. Like
right,
it's done everything that it was meant to do, and
mhm,
which was raise awareness and being an advocate for mental health. I feel like I've done my job with this one, and it
right.
feels amazing.
That's amazing, and congratulations to you on that. And I want to go back to the point of mental illness in the Black community, our community. I know I agree with you. In our household, in my household, you weren't able to say depressed. That wasn't a thing. I was raised by my mother and a stepfather, but my mother was, everything. But her feelings of like I went through depression for years and didn't know why and just couldn't talk about it and I didn't deal with it until I was like in my 30s, and it was because my husband was basically like I don't know what to do for you, with
Mm,
this. And I have to say that um, I had a negative view of going to a counselor or seeing someone, a therapist, because when you're raised like that, you're told that it's a weakness. It's you're
mm,
being weak, and so, and I
mhm,
know in our community, it's a weakness. Like only certain people go to see a therapist, not us, because it's a sign of weakness. So I grew up thinking that it was that. But I have to say, when I finally went and saw a therapist, it was so relieving, like I could breathe, like just talking to someone that
mhm,
doesn't know your family, doesn't know you, and just to sit there and get all these things out and then have someone say, and diagnose you for things that traumatic things that happen to you. And you don't realize that it could be little things. It could be like for me, the death of my grandmother dying in our home. I didn't know
mhm.
as a little girl seeing that, if that was something that I carried around and in other things. So I'm happy that you bring that up and that you talk about mental illness, because I do feel like in our community, we're raised to be strong and and you don't show weakness, and you don't you're made fun of basically.
Oh yeah,
And so so I just want to tell you guys out there, there's help. There's you can call anonymous numbers. You can do that. There's a lot of help. Please, therapy is good. Therapy is not bad. And for us as Black people, we look at therapy as a bad thing. So I just want to say it is not bad. It's good. Everyone actually could use a little therapy in their life. I think everyone should be able to have access to therapy, and it be something free that you're able to go and get. So I'm happy that you spoke on that and you wrote about that, because that is a huge deal. So I just wanted to make that disclaimer. And it did help me out, just by the way. It was the best thing I ever did. And I was able to move on with my life and have tools that I could use, and just, it was freeing, like years of a burden. Like I felt like the burden was lifted off my shoulders, and I could really breathe from carrying around all this trauma. So,
Yeah, imagine
you
how
know,
many people are out there in the world like that, you know?
there's so many, and what's really sad is that there are kids, like young kids, that have issues, have problems, and the parents don't know, and they kind of have to, you wondering what's wrong with them. They didn't get help as a young kid, so they're dealing with this, and then and that's where prison systems come in. That's why they end up in all these places, because, or being a ward of the state, because it wasn't taken care of when they were younger, maybe because the parents didn't know, or they just fall through the cracks. So I just want to mention that. And I have cousins that went through that. And I remember as a kid, just, I told a story about a cousin that would play with string and he couldn't talk that well, and it was like a laughing thing. It was like, as a kid, it was just, that's how he is. And now
Mhm.
growing up, he ended up getting into trouble, and then coming to find out he had all these issues that we knew he had, but it wasn't dealt with because it was just kind of like, he'll grow out of
Swept
it.
under the rug, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a good one. Everything swept under the rug. So I'm happy that you won an award for that, but that you wrote something like that. And the fact that you went through that, do you feel like it's shameful, like, to talk about suicide, and that you have that? Did you go through that where it was just like, I can't tell anyone?
When I was going through it, I definitely couldn't tell anyone.
Right.
It was especially like back in the day,
Yeah.
it was like early 2000s. Like people
Okay.
weren't
Oh
talking about
yeah.
that back then. What? You depressed? No, you
Yeah.
better slap
Right.
that depression off your face.
Right. There you go.
You
There,
know what I
no,
mean?
that's exactly how it was. And it was like that in my mom and in my household. And she didn't, that's how she was raised. So, and it was like that. You better get over that. You better go pray. And praying is
Mhm.
great, but you need therapy, you need help. So that is so true. And that's what you get from people. Anyway, so you have a film that's in post production, and it's a feature film. You co-wrote, executive produced, directed, and you starred in as Kevin. It's called Backburner. Is that still in pre? Is that, you want to talk about Backburner?
Yeah, let's talk about
Okay,
it.
let's talk
Yeah.
about Backburner. Tell me about Backburner. And I know that you play. This is where his culinary arts, him being a chef, comes into play, because you got to do this in this film. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so Backburner is about a sous chef who has a burning desire to be the Yum Network's next superstar. So there's this celebrity chef, Jessica Sims, and she's looking for the next superstar to be on the Yum Network. And she has a show on the Yum Network. So my character goes through all these trials and tribulations while not getting support, while putting his own needs on the back burner to benefit other people while they put him on the back burner. um, while he works for an executive chef who always puts him down and doesn't believe in his abilities.
Okay, okay. Speaking of that, being a chef, do you still cook? Do you like, on your off time, when you're, because obviously you're busy, do you still have a passion for cooking? I mean, is
Oh,
that
I
something that?
love to
Okay,
cook any chance I get whenever I'm not
okay.
on set.
Okay. I want to talk about the how you're able to, well, let's put it, what's your process of getting into a role? Like, for instance, when you said the whole the lethal weapon, and how you were able to learn those lines really quick for the audition, which for a lot of actors, that's very stressful, and a situation like that, and that's when you have to show up and just do it. What's your process for remembering your lines when it's a monologue, when it's just a whole show that you're carrying, or a movie? How do you do that?
So I start with repetition,
Okay.
and once my lines are embedded in my brain, then I start breaking down the scene. Like, what's my character's intentions? What's the end goal? What's the objective of each scene that my character is in? And also like what type of moods does my character have? You know, what type of music does my character like? I feel like
Okay.
those type of uh elements help me tap into the character even more and go deeper.
Okay.
Like what does a normal day look like for my character? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like just going to the store or something. Is he happy? Is he sad? What happened to him in that moment before he
Right.
transitioned to the present time?
Right. I was told by an acting teacher that when it comes to like what you're saying is when you get a role, sometimes they don't give you all that background about that character. So you kind of you ask yourself who, what, when, how was he raised? Who was his parents? How does he walk? How does he talk? All the things that you're talking about. Have you had a role where, well, let's talk about your most challenging role that you've had where it was a lot.
Ooh. I would say when I played Carl in Bunnyman Vengeance,
Okay. Okay.
because I'm a kind-hearted person, and I try to pass out good vibes, but this character, let me tell you, was the complete opposite of who I am naturally, which
Yeah.
I enjoy playing. But to really go into a dark, evil, negative space of killing and torturing people, and
Mhm.
then to have to come out of that, I feel like with every role, the transition from going from that character to normal life, it takes a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
with this role, it took about a month for me to hop out of character. Like
Okay.
I would just walk around my apartment doing weird stuff. Like,
Um, so what about chemistry with an actor? How do you deal with that? Because like when you have a scene where you're kissing someone or it's an intimate scene, how do you deal with that? Is that hard when you just met that actress or you know what I mean?
I feel like it's easy as an actor. I mean, especially if you've been on a lot of sets and you're professional about it. You know,
Mhm.
it's easy, but it becomes difficult if the other actor isn't open to the
Right.
intimacy, even though they
Okay.
know what the scene calls for.
Right.
There could be a bit of a struggle still getting the same end result
Right.
while still respecting the actor's boundaries.
Okay.
So it's a fine line sometimes.
Okay. Now you're also a screenwriter, you're a producer, but about your writing, like the films that you wrote, your process of writing films in between acting, because I mean, you're acting and you're also doing your own thing and making your own, projects that you're doing. So with writing, how long does it take for you to write? How does that process for you to come up with the story and build that story and the characters?
Creating the world of the story I want to tell isn't the hard part for me. It's
Okay.
structuring each
Okay.
moment, because I didn't go to school for writing. You know, this all off of
Okay.
YouTube, watching
Okay.
YouTube videos.
Right. Right. Yes.
So sometimes I need a little insight. So when I need insight, you know, or some guidance, I go to my friends who are writers, and I'm like, hey,
Okay.
how do you feel about this scene? And then I pick their brain, and then I continue to adjust my writing that way.
Right.
But writing
And
is it's a challenge for me because it's something that's still new to me. So it's a
okay.
good challenge.
But you've done well so far. I mean, you've hit it pretty well so far. I mean, with the writing that you've done, I mean, and the stories and the producing of that. As far as producing, do you produce other people's stuff? Do you write for other actors? Do you help out with writing because you've gotten used to doing that already?
Yeah, so I've assisted and directed a few of my friends' projects. They'll
Okay.
be like, "Hey, why don't you come on? I like what you're doing. It would
Okay.
be great to have your insight on set."
Okay.
And we go from there.
How do you deal with creative differences on set? I mean, have you had a moment where, you know what I mean? I mean, let's talk about that because, it happens. How do you deal with that?
I keep it professional and I don't make it personal because sometimes it could be personal, especially if you're
Okay.
working with a friend. You know what I mean?
Okay.
the lines of professionalism can be blurred depending on how well you know that person.
Okay.
But creative differences, I try to stay aligned with the vision of the project.
Okay.
Sometimes when it becomes personal, the vision could be sidetracked. So I
Okay.
try to always keep the vision in the forefront of my mind to keep me focused. It's good to have creative differences, don't get me wrong.
Right.
I feel
Right.
like that can make or break a story.
Right.
And if the elements being discussed are coming from a personal space and not a professional structured space, then I don't
Mm,
know. I look at it a little different. So every case is different,
okay.
depending on the project.
Now, free time. Let's get into free time. When you're not on set, what is free time like for you? What do you enjoy doing? What are hobbies that you come down from acting and just Amari?
I love to hike, go
Okay.
hiking, somewhere that's not too crazy because we got mountain lions and stuff out here.
Oh,
So
I'm
I'm not
yes,
trying to get eaten up. So
yes, yes.
anywhere that's safe. So I go to
Right.
Malibu a lot.
Okay.
I write poetry.
Okay.
I watch the Food Network channel,
Okay.
get
My
some new
favorite channel.
recipes.
Right. Right.
And oh, most importantly, I love watching basketball, NBA.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Favorite team?
Warriors,
Warrior. Oh, yes. I'm in Sacramento. I'm in
Warriors.
Sacramento. We just had we have the Kings up here. We just had a game recently. I know they won, but it's a big thing here. I'm coming from Portland. We have the what is it? The Blazers. The
Oh, the
Blazers up in
Trailblazers,
yeah, the
yeah.
Trailblazers up in Portland. Come here. We have the Sacramento Kings. I'm telling you, Sacramento is serious about their Kings. But when the Warriors are playing at the arena here in Sacramento, the fans will drive all the way from San Francisco, come here, and it's you see them on each side of the street. It's like a huge deal. I love both teams. I'm a fan of the Warriors. I'm a fan of the Kings. I rather play than watch, but it's a huge, absolutely huge deal here. I want to talk about voice acting, video games. Have you gotten into that? What do you think about voice acting for video games, or even actors are now? They're in games now, especially when they're really good video games. Have you thought about that? Would you do something like that?
Oh, I would do it all day, every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Motion capture is so much
Yes.
fun. I
Okay.
went in for an audition for a video game once, and they hooked me up to like the motion capture machine
Okay.
and
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
me recite the line. It was so weird at first because I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no one to act with, but okay.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but once you get into that world, I mean, the opportunities are endless. Like you can do
Yes.
so much in that space as an
Yeah.
actor. You don't
Yeah.
even need to be on the set, like, and they can still
Right.
make magic happen.
Right. Yeah, watching the God of War and the newer one, and they had the behind the scenes of the little boy, and I forget the name of the guy, but he played on he played on that show on Sci-Fi. Anyways, he has that wonderful voice. He's the new voice of Kratos of God of War. Anyways, they were showing them with all the balls all over them and sitting in a pretend boat and just like you said, acting by themselves or acting with the kid. He won an award for that. And I find that just really interesting that actors are now coming into. I'm a huge gamer. So when you have a good game and you have actors coming into the game, it makes that game so much better because your favorite actors in it, or what it took for them to create that role, what it took for a shooter to shoot the right way because the actor was portraying that. But I think that'd be awesome. I have a friend that I worked with, and he actually has his photo in a SOCOM game, and you can pick him as a player. And shout out to Dwight Taylor. That's awesome. I played you in a video game. It was so it was really really cool. But before we go, tell us what's coming up. Tell us what you have going on. This is all for you.
So, as you guys know, Backburner will be screening in July, and then once it screens, I'll have more information about where it's going to be on the streaming platforms and all that good information.
Okay.
And I do have another project in the works, but I can't speak too much about it. But I'll just say this, you guys will get to know me on a deeper level. This is not the traditional film type project, but this is a project to get to know me as a person, as an actor, and all that good stuff on a deeper level.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, and for those that don't know, I am a Stage 32 moderator. So if you're an actor and you need some guidance, I mentor actors on Stage 32. It's a free platform for creatives to find resources and connect with other creatives.
Nice, very nice. You will find all of Omari's links in the description of the video. Um, his Instagram page, his website, all of that, and it'll take you to Stage 32, so you can hook up with him. That's awesome that you offer that. I do want you to ask you this: what would you say to a young struggling actor that's out there and wants to at least get to where you're at? What would you say to that young person out there?
I would say create a plan and commit to that plan as much as you possibly can, and stay true to who you are. There's going to be projects that may try to alter who you are as a person, but don't go that route because of the money, you know. Um, Stay close to your integrity. This industry has a way of trying to persuade you to do things outside of your character, but as long as you stay true to you and know where you're headed, you will eventually reach the promised land, as they like to call it. You'll get there. It took me a long time to get to where I'm at, but with the determination, with the drive, with the plan, I knew that I was eventually going to be where I am today, and you could do it too.
Absolutely, you sure can do it too. And remember, guys, do it because you enjoy doing it. Don't do it for the money. Do it because you enjoy doing it, because success that will eventually come and you will be exactly where Omari is. So, thank you guys for joining us this evening. Omari, when I close out, don't leave. Stay right there. You guys, let's see. I have John DeGregorio, who's from Movie Lovers Unite. You know, he's had a long road with podcasting and starting his podcast. So I'm actually going to interview him on the 24th of March. We also have Amani. You'll be able to meet her soon. She's a huge figure here in Sacramento. She's a actor, writer, producer. I can't wait to have her on. That's going to be on the 19th. Let's see. I have Lance Lanswell. He's an artist here in Sacramento. He's a huge deal. He's going to come on, and we have so many more. Don't forget the Payday 916 interview will be dropping soon. You guys should be able to get that. Enjoy that. And until next time, guys, I will see you next time. Join me on Movie Lovers Unite, you guys. Wednesday nights, John and I will be reviewing. We just did Nosferatu. Go check that out. It's a non-spoiler review. I enjoyed the movie. Tell us what you guys think of the movie. I'm hearing some mixed things about it, but I thought it was really good. Anyways, until next time, guys, we are out. Thank you.